This is KUGAN, CASSIUS for iFILM London. We're in Liverpool at the Hilton for the press conference for No Retreat, No Surrender. This Saturday, live on Sky Sports. With me, I have the man responsible for this show, Eddie Hearn. How are you, Ed?
Bringing cord back.
Cord? To be honest, I can't slag you off for it because it actually looks alright. It looks quite tight and nice.
Rascal jumper?
No, you've got to break it up. See, that's the thing. You can't go all colour coordinated. You've got to throw in a breaker every now and again.
That is massive coming from you. Massive. Anyway, Isaac CHILEMBA, Tony Bellew. Every time I see a Tony Bellew head-to-head, it's like my eyes are clocked on Tony Bellew because he doesn't take his eyes off his opponent. So, what did you make, body language, what did you make from the press conference and the head-to-head today? I don't really ever take too much from head-to-heads and weigh-ins and stuff like that. I mean, Tony's very intense and CHILEMBA's very placid. You know, the way he spoke, very respectful, very calm. I don't think he's going to, you know, even himself is going to get fazed by 7,000 Scousers going mad. I know most people would, but I think with his trainer, two-time world champion Buddy McGirt, he's mentally prepared for this fight. Tony gets very intense, very irate on fight week. That's just the way he is. But I think it's a pure fight. You know, it's a real 50-50 fight. CHILEMBA is, I think, the slight favourite in America, but over here Tony is perceived to be the favourite. But I just think it's a great fight. Technically, CHILEMBA is excellent, and this is Tony's toughest fight, no doubt about that ever. And you know, he's stepping up now to potentially a huge fight for the WBC title. So a career-defining fight for both men, and hats off for both of them for taking it.
I heard some rumours that the Bellew camp had access to the CHILEMBA camp that were training in the Liverpool gym. They had the access to the cameras, so they were constantly watching them while they were here sparring and training and that. What do you think about that?
I haven't heard that. Who'd you hear that off?
I heard that. No, it's a reliable source. I heard that from. But just take it from me. I heard it from a reliable source, and I'm being serious. So, what do you think about that?
Well, firstly, I don't think you know any reliable sources. But secondly, I don't believe that at all. But I do believe that. Listen, he's training in Liverpool. Everyone talks. So people are going to talk. If he's been sparring with someone, Tony's going to find out who he's been sparring with, what it's like. So you know,
they've got actual footage on their phone from the cameras. I'm telling you now.
Okay, well listen, if they have, I haven't seen it, but if they have, that's really up to the camp, CHILEMBA's camp, to try and make sure that doesn't happen. If I was taking a fighter to prepare the week of a fight into a hometown, my opponent's hometown gym or somewhere, I would make sure that certainly no one is filming that. It's not hard to know if someone's filming it on a phone, standing there, you know, filming it. I think CHILEMBA's sparred once since he's been here, and that would have probably been on Monday or Sunday, just as a little tune down. So you can't take anything from a 6-round spar where he's just don't want to get hurt and he's just tuning up. So.
Well, actually, CHILEMBA actually had heard of these rumours as well.
And
so
what did he say?
Well, he said that they're more than welcome to come down the gym and watch them. They don't have to watch through cameras. They can come and sit down and watch them train anytime they wanted.
That's a good answer. You know.
You just think I made that completely up, but I haven't.
No, I don't. But you do talk a load of bollocks. So sometimes
I talk bollocks. I talk bollocks. What do you do then? All right, you're selling fights, but that's different, I suppose.
The difference is I do it for a living. You know, you just talk shit non-stop. But you know, I think that a lot of the time, a lot of stuff is built up about sparring sessions. This happened, this happened. Whether that happened or not is standard procedure. You know. You're just trying to make it into something controversial to get more hits. You'll probably put on your title something like Bellew MI5 spies out against CHILEMBA just to try and get a few more hits, because you are a hit whore. You know, that's what you do for a living. The more hits you get, the more successful you think.
What's the difference between that and you getting ratings on Sky Sports, mug? What's the difference? You're not all about ratings? Not all about ratings? You love a rating, Eddie, didn't you? You love a rating, didn't you? How many people tuned into Eddie Hearn's show? Sorry, the Matchroom show, or is it the Eddie Hearn show?
Give me the mic. The difference is firstly, when I get excited, I just smile. When you get excited, you slob all over the floor. I mean, what?
Hold on. When you get excited, you run into the ring and nearly fuck up Cole Froch's title challenge.
No, actually, because if
you could have done.
If you check the rules, you're definitely mistaken.
You run into the ring. Woo!
Well, when did you ever hear me make that noise?
I heard it. I was ringside, remember? I heard you make a little woo-woo sound.
I ran into the ring. I definitely didn't go woo. I definitely didn't do that. So anyway, getting back to...
You've forgotten, haven't you?
Yeah, you're doing well. You're proper mugging me off today.
No, I'm not mugging you off. I wouldn't mug me old pal Eddie off. Where's the t-shirt anyway? Obviously not. CROLLA MATHEWS, the rematch. CROLLA was a little bit late today, but I mean, he come and said his piece. And
Mind games? Was that Coog? Was that?
Well, you tell me.
Mercy? No, he was.
You're the car salesman. You tell me.
He was in a Brian King 80. He calls me Fast Eddie, the car salesman. No, he was late. He was in the traffic. You know, CROLLA's a lovely kid. He's with Joe Gallagher. They were just late, but I just think that is a fight that really could go either way. First fight, I thought CROLLA was going to win. I told Derry that as well, and the size difference looked huge that night. And I think I'm going to go for Derry probably just this time around, just because psychologically I think he's going to have the edge over CROLLA. He knows he can hurt him, and CROLLA knows he can be hurt. But two guys who are just going to come forward and not give in. You know, they both sold 1,000 tickets between them. The atmosphere is going to be unbelievable, and that's a real fight that's heavily anticipated, and particularly in the fight community, because it's, you know, former fight of the year, and again, two great kids, and I wish them best of luck for that one. I have no particular loyalties, no allegiances. I'm just going to sit down and just really enjoy it.
Rocky Fielding, the fight that never happened before is happening now. Rocky Fielding versus Wayne Reed. I know you don't want to talk above what's going to happen Saturday because he's still got Wayne Reed in front of him, but Rocky Fielding, is there plans for him to perhaps challenge for the British title later on this year? Yeah,
definitely. I think potentially one fight away, which could be this one. Rocky will fight for the title when he's ready to fight for the title. There's no tearing rush as long as he's active, and he hasn't fought since he boxed Carl Dilks because he broke his hand. So he's back now. If he deals with Wayne Reed very well, perhaps he's ready for the winner of Dodson against Smith. If he doesn't, he'll need another fight. But he's in no rush himself. He knows he's got to learn. But this is a real good fight for him because Reed is no mug. He's had a couple of good wins himself, and he's tough. He's a southpaw. He's reasonably slippery, and he's brought a fair amount of support from Sheffield as well. So that's another competitive fight.
Packed undercard as well. Likes of Callum Smith, Anthony Jevons, Jazza Dickens. So it's a real Liverpool night as well, isn't it?
Callum Smith.
I said Callum Smith.
Did you? Tom Stalker.
Tom Stalker.
Scott Cardle.
Scott Cardle from Blackpool.
Cal Yafai. It's a massive bill, 11 fights, and brilliant on the red button from 7 PM, where you're going to be able to watch, I think, Callum Smith, Scott Cardle, Cal Yafai and Jazza Dickens, and then move on to 9 PM live, watching Tom Stalker, Rocky Fielding, Derry and CROLLA, and then BELLEW. So brilliant night for boxing fans. Hopefully we can do more of that. Let's see what the numbers are. Let's see just how much demand there is for that red button activity. And I think, you know, you never know what you're going to get in these shows, you know, and at the moment I'm there to be shot down. Do you know what I mean? When I first started, everyone was, go on Eddie, you know. Now it's like, that was shit, he's fucking useless. And like the Wembley show, which I thought was average, you were there, was apparently the worst show anyone's ever seen. Well, fucking hell, do you see the garbage we used to do before I got involved? You know, in leisure centres, again, you know, Commonwealth title fights, they were garbage. And we're building, you know, we're building towards the future. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we don't. Belfast was an amazing show. Wembley was average. Hopefully this will be amazing. It's got the ingredients to be, but everything's got to gel on the night, and it's boxing, it's sport. You never know what's going to happen.
I take what I read on Twitter with a pinch of salt, literally, unless I've heard it.
From one of your reliable sources?
No, from one of my reliable sources. I have some reliable sources. You are actually one of my reliable sources, because if you tell me stuff, which you do quite often, and it's hard to keep it in sometimes, which I do, obviously, I read some stuff on Twitter sometimes, and I think to myself, do you know what?
Your belt.
What are you on about? What does that mean?
It's a bit like your belt. Yeah. Hard to keep in sometimes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fat. And what? Right. Listen, I read some stuff and I think to myself, do I bother asking that? But I just want to ask you now. Right.
And you know, listen, no holds barred.
No.
I'm a reliable source. I'll tell you the truth. Ask me what you want. I'll shrug, no questions.
All right. David Haye announcing his return to the ring this week on Thursday. We don't know about any opponent or TV deal. What's the chances of him coming and fighting back on Sky?
I don't think so. The issue you've got is, and this is, I'll try and explain this in layman's terms as easy as possible. You've got a Sky Sports rights fee, and then there's nothing in the middle. There's a pay-per-view show. The Haye fight that he'll have is not a pay-per-view show, so therefore I doubt there's the money that he needs to make that fight available just from a normal rights fee. So he will need to find some kind of pay-per-view outlet, some kind of subscription outlet. So to answer your question, I would think he'll box on Box Nation or Primetime.
Have you tried to sign David Haye at any point?
No. never spoken to him about his career. Obviously, you know, speak to Adam Booth a lot about George, but never spoke to Adam about David Haye.
Okay.
When you go like that, does that mean
no, I just wondered. No, of course. Listen, I actually do believe you if you're saying it, because you're very like see-through with things. You just tell us, don't you? Another thing. Amir Khan's fighting on Box Nation against Julio Diaz. I've read more than once actually. People insinuating that you had something to do with him not being on Sky. What is there any truth in that whatsoever?
No. I believe at the moment there is a budget set for boxing on the Sky, which is proportioned to us. And you know, this is a question for Sky, not for me. But the money wasn't there to make Amir the offer that he would have liked. So I was prepared to help make his fight on Sky. I approached Golden Boy. I asked Golden Boy if they'd be interested in us working together to help keep Amir on Sky. But I think, again, you get that same kind of model where you have your rights fee and your pay-per-view. And those kind of guys, Khan and Haye, want something in the middle, which isn't there at the moment. So they have to go the subscription channel route or the pay-per-view route to try and attract more money. Problem is, when you do that, you cut your nose to spite your face, because you lose the exposure. You lose the audience. But in answer to your question, I had talks with Golden Boy about trying to keep Khan on Sky. But we couldn't work anything out. Does that answer you?
Yeah, it does sort of. I saw a couple of tweets about people having digs at you already about something to do with Amir Khan, and it just got me thinking.
The thing is some of Khan's team said, "Oh, if you want to box on Sky, you've got to be with Eddie Hearn." Well, at the moment the budgets are set, so all I was trying to do was trying to offer him a way to stay on Sky. Not trying to be a nice guy, but you know, that's just what I tried to do, but the numbers didn't make sense for anyone.
Are you up for helping other promoters join your alleged monopoly?
Of course. I've got a job to deliver for Sky Sports. I've also got a job for delivering for my fighters. Now, the way I see things going in time is I won't necessarily have to sign a fighter to a 5-year deal or a 15-fight deal. I can rotate fighters on my channel on Sky, you know, to deliver that service to Sky. So what I'm trying to say is if there's a great fighter that at the moment whose promoter hasn't got a TV deal, I'm more than happy to let that fighter fight on my channel. Now, some people say to me, yeah, but if you didn't let him fight on the channel, then maybe you could sign that fighter. I can't sign everyone. So, you know, I mean, Jazza Dickens is a good example. This weekend, Ricky asked if he could box on a show. Going to add great value to the show. He's a great young fighter. Yes, let's get him on. So I think in time, what you'll see is you'll see me signing less fighters, but using more fighters and using more promoters to work with. And I think, you know, people say, Frank will say, oh, well, the Groves deal is only a 2-fight deal. It's actually a 3-fight deal, but that's okay. If after 3 fights George isn't happy at Matchroom, he may move on elsewhere. If he is, we think we've got the perfect platform for him to move forward. But it doesn't matter, you know, if George is self-managed, self-promoted, if you like, with Adam Booth. I'd still use him on the channel. Some promoters are hell-bent on signing fighters to 3-5-year contracts that they think they can't get out of. But with us, really, I'm more about just trying to provide great fights. They don't all have to be Matchroom fighters. I've got to try and survive and keep my contract with Sky. The way I do that is to create great fights. So if it means working with someone else, CROLLA against Matthews, classic example. Neither of them are fighters, no allegiances to either man. Dave Coldwell's got one, Hatton's got the other. Brilliant fight, so let's get it on, may the best man win, and I can actually sit there and just chill out and watch it and enjoy it. So am I up for working at other fighters? Yes. I have to be successful and try and be number one, and sometimes I'll have to make strategic moves to duck and dive, but generally I've got to provide a service to Sky, and that's making great fights. So whatever means necessary.
Are you interested in listening to my opinion on this matter?
Go on then.
Listen, I think for you it's great. You've got all the dates, brilliant. I preferred it before, when there was 4 or 5 different promoters putting on a different variety of shows. Personally, that's what, you know, but what you're doing now, only time will tell whether, I think, in a year's time, and I think You all right?
I'm just looking at Bellew. Yeah.
All right. So that's my personal opinion about that.
I will counter-argue with that and say the ratings were dying, no one was watching, the broadcasters were losing faith in the sport, the look and the feel of the shows were poor. So what I'm trying to say is there's not enough of people who had your opinion to keep that process alive. Do you understand? If there was, there'd still be 4 or 5 promoters on Sky. There was a problem. That's why there was change. Do you understand what I'm saying? So really, and Sky had to make a change, because I think without us making the push, I think they could have potentially walked away from boxing. I really think that. So I'm glad we've got the dates. It's great for us. One of the reasons you say that is because you want to watch more boxing. And you feel as if there's more dates, more promoters, then, you know...
Well, no, it's the same dates, and it's the same dates, probably, and...
No, it's less dates.
No, what I'm saying to you is, it's probably over the course of the year, how many shows, for example, before you had your 25 deal, how many shows were there a year?
Well, I think nearly double. You know, so there was nearly a show every week. So there were plenty more shows, but obviously that's not working for the broadcaster. It's a business. You can't say, oh, boxing's not working, but we love boxing, you know, or you know, boxing's not working, it's not delivering the numbers, and the fights aren't very good, but let's keep it anyway, because boxing's good. You know, it doesn't work like that. You keep the sports that are delivering, and boxing wasn't delivering. Every now and again now, we've got a massive amount of work to do. Sometimes the ratings are good, we deliver, sometimes they're not. We're still building the sport again. Do you know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is there wasn't the demand anymore for one show a week. And you can't just be blinkered and look at Twitter and the boxing forums. This is fact from the wider audience. The numbers aren't good enough. Why do you think terrestrial broadcasters aren't interested in boxing? Why no BBC? Why no ITV? Why no Channel 5? Because the numbers aren't good enough. The sport's not big enough. It's not perceived to be big enough. And fact is, it's not big enough. So somehow we've got to get it back there. And I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but I'm going to work my bollocks off to try and make it happen.
You better make it successful, otherwise your head will literally be on the block.
Well, listen, if it is, it is, but all you can ever do in life is work your nuts off. And I promise you now, I work my absolute nuts off, non-stop. You know what I mean? But, of course, now the position's changed. A year ago, like I said, when I was part of the Sky guys just promoting, I was doing some shows and everything was so positive, and now it's a lot of criticism. That's fine. You know, criticism doesn't bother me. It's sometimes good to be criticised. Actually, it's very good because it makes me want to do more and deliver shows like this on Saturday. But the bottom line, and again we go back to our December interviews, which, don't you think you should have shared some of the dates with the other promoters? No, fuck off. They've given me the dates because I've delivered. So...
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting you would share. If someone's in your position, you know, telling them, oh, share your dates, you've got 20 dates, yeah, all right, you have a couple, it's ridiculous. But what I was saying is people who don't know the ins and outs would say, Eddie's got all the dates. Just as a bland comment, Eddie's got all the dates, no one else has got to look in. Is just from that point of view, is it fair? But you went into that back then.
Again, nothing about being fair. It's like when you pitch something to anyone. If you're a supplier of something, you know, you are an online supplier of sports content, like you are, if you can call it that, right? And say that all of a sudden a channel come along that wanted to use an interviewer or an interview source like yourself to provide content for that, and it was a real lucrative deal for you and your organisation. So you went to pitch with a load of other people, and you put your product on the line and showcase that, and that content provider had to choose who to go with. Yeah? And you won. And you got that deal. Exactly the same. You know, if you got fucking double glazing, you're a double glazing salesman, and you go out and you're pitching your product, your services to win that contract with that individual. It's just like any other business, and we won that contract because we were good enough, we had enough vision, and probably most importantly, we were reliable. And our deal with Sky across the board means we cannot afford to fuck up in business. You know, we're a huge customer of Sky's. We supply, I think, around 10% of their total content. So, you know, all that fans have got to know is we're under pressure to deliver for Sky, and that means we'll strive to produce the goods. Sometimes we will, sometimes we won't. But How do I think it's going? I think it's going well, and I think we're gathering a formidable team in British boxing.
All right, Eddie Hearn, thank you very much for talking to iFILM London. Well, I'll see you in a minute, really, because we're going home together.
Yeah, on the journey home, you can do your famous. That's how you sleep.
Would you like me to reveal to the Twitter people and the YouTube people and the Facebook people, wherever I put this, a little picture of you doing your impression of me?
Did you take one?
I took one, yeah. Just quickly.
Do you know when we were on the plane yesterday?
Yeah.
Were you going to hit me with that magazine? Because I was asleep, and I just kept waking up, and you had a magazine rolled up. And you know when you look at someone and you know they're up to something, and you were going like this.
Right.
But is that when you took?
Hold on, let's have a look. I don't know if it will focus on that, but
Hopefully it don't.
just,
Do you want me to hold it up?
yeah, just hold it up so we can see. That's it.
That's called. Yeah, that's called hard graft. That's up and down the motorway with KUGAN CASSIUS.
Right.
You need to get one of those.
Yeah, I know. This is KUGAN CASSIUS with Fast Car ready for iFILM London. You're a smug fucker, aren't you? Just looking at you now, with your little cheeks glowing. Ooh, I'm on Sky. Ooh, Eddie Hearn on Sky. Ooh, Sky friends.
Suntan New Age promoter.
That's the one. Thank you very much.